A popular vacation spot along the Carolina coast dealing with lots of standing water following Idalia. We'll get a closer look.
Amber, taking a look right now, kind of the remnants of Idalia working their way up the coast and away from us, leaving us with some of the best weather for this weekend coming up.
Wish you were here. It is a beautiful day here along the coast of South Carolina, much different than it was yesterday when Idalia was bearing down with wind and rain here. Coming up, we'll take you to some of the damage left behind.
Welcome to the 4 to 5. Yeah, thank goodness that's gone out of here. And we actually, in the aftermath of a hurricane, when a hurricane moves through an area, it takes all the moisture with it, and you end up with some of the best weather that you've seen in a long time.
I mean, I'm even looking behind here in Greensboro. Beautiful skies, blue, I mean, pretty day.
Honestly, I can't remember the last time that a day has been more perfect to what I like than today.
Temperature-wise and
yes,
everything.
It was just beautiful.
Wasn't too hot,
No.
wasn't any of those things,
Low
right?
humidity. Well, the cold front went through too, so that dropped our humidities, and we're going to stay rain-free for a big chunk of the 7 day.
All right. We're going to get looking at the weather here shortly, but first, one of the big stories we were following this afternoon. The man accused of a deadly attack in Guilford County went before a judge today. Malik Marshall Hardy was denied bond a couple of hours ago.
Investigators say he murdered 70-year-old Gwendolyn Flood and stabbed her niece multiple times during a robbery last Thursday. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake joins us now live with the new details we learned in court.
Right, guys, so we sat in court today as the district attorney's office listed off the charges for 28-year-old Malik Marshall Hardy. The death penalty is currently on the table right now just because of that murder charge that he's facing. Now, Marshall Hardy is being accused of killing 70-year-old Gwendolyn Flood and stabbing her 28-year-old niece, Jessica Perry, in an attack in the Adams Farm neighborhood on August 24th. The assault put the area on lockdown for hours. 911 calls rolled in as the situation transpired.
I just rolled by, I saw look like two ladies laying in the ground.
The sheriff said Marshall Hardy was trying to rob Flood's home on Wellesley Drive West in Greensboro. Flood's niece was at the home visiting. The sheriff said the women confronted the suspect as he tried stealing their car. Officials then say Marshall Hardy ran over the 70-year-old, which resulted in several injuries. She died at the scene. While trying to take off, police say Marshall stole the niece's phone, also ran her over with the car, and then stabbed her. Perry is currently in stable condition at the hospital. Now, Hardy is facing multiple charges right now, including first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder. That's why a capital defender was appointed in this case. Live in High Point, Amber Lake, WFMY News 2.
Amber, thank you. This right here is Gwendolyn Flood. Her family sent us these pictures. She was 70 years old and also a former GCS bus driver. Just before today's court hearing, we caught up with Flood's daughter. She spoke about the type of person she was.
A woman of service. Like, she served her community very well.
And church.
And church. Her community, her church, her family, her friends, served them very well for as long as I can remember.
Flood worked for Guilford County Schools for nearly 20 years, driving buses from 1999 up until she retired in 2018.
Back to our storm coverage. As Idalia pushes away from our coast this afternoon, we're getting a good indication of the damage left behind. Across our border in South Carolina, they're looking into a possible tornado touchdown in North Myrtle Beach. It's coming just days ahead of the busy holiday weekend. Our team on the ground there says the storm surge paired with what's called the king tide has caused all sorts of issues.
WFMY News 2's Daniel Cruz has been surveying the damage left behind. He's live in Myrtle Beach right now with an update.
Sydney, it has been largely a beautiful day here along the Grand Strand, much different from yesterday. Today, people are out enjoying the sun. Wind and rain, obviously a big problem yesterday. And although some folks are out enjoying this nice weather we have today, some are left cleaning up damage, potentially left behind from tornadoes. And locals say now is not the time to let your guard down. Chainsaws echo throughout a small portion of Pawleys Island just south of Myrtle Beach. This location is one that was under a brief tornado warning yesterday. Tina Mims has lived here for more than 40 years and has weathered many hurricanes. She says Idalia, although weak, still left its mark.
Having been here forever and being from Myrtle Beach originally, we were not really concerned about what was going on. This was just an anomaly or something, just not something to expect.
Further north in Myrtle Beach proper, they were virtually unscathed. The city says there are no reports of flooding or damage in the city. Barb Crum with Ocean Lakes Family Campground says they are always reminding their guests that even though these storms are weaker, they are able to pack a punch.
You want to take it seriously, but you definitely, I think the people that are newer to the area get very concerned. So anyone who's, from out of state, who's never been through a tropical storm or a hurricane, there's a lot of making them feel safe.
The National Weather Service has had teams on the ground today surveying the damage for any potential tornado. They did confirm some tornadoes up near North Carolina. They expect the reports from Paulus Island and Cherry Grove to be released later tonight or tomorrow. Live in Myrtle Beach, Daniel Cruz, WFMY News 2.
Well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, when a hurricane or a tropical system exits an area, it usually sucks all the moisture out with it, and it ends up being some of the best weather ever. I've covered 3 major hurricanes at the coast in my career. Same story. The day after is some of the best weather that you'll see. We are in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Talk about great weather. 79 in Greensboro, 81 for High Point and Burlington, a string of 79s for Asheboro, Lexington, and even Wilkesboro in the upper 70s. Tonight, which means tomorrow morning, what a great Friday. If you happen to have the day off, you need to get a cup of coffee and head outside with 58 degrees and lots of sunshine. That is a beautiful day. And highs tomorrow only making it up to 78. Now, we do see a gradual warm up in our 7-day. We'll show you that in a minute. Across the area, hard pressed to find even a cloud, at least in central North Carolina. There goes Idalia off the coast, taking the rain with it, basically clearing out. We are left with breezy conditions. We'll see that a little bit. And as we head into Friday, though, it's cooler, lower humidity thanks to that high pressure to the north. This is a wonderful 7-day forecast, especially through the Labor Day holiday. 78 tomorrow, all sunshine, sunny through your weekend, low to mid 80s Saturday, Sunday, upper 80s Monday and Tuesday. By Wednesday, we're back to a low 90, but 88 on Thursday.
Classes are back in session today at UNC for the first time following the deadly shooting there on Monday. We saw lots of students today trying to get back into their regular routines, but with Monday's tragedy still in the back of their minds.
It's definitely going to be hard for people to kind of readjust and get back into class, and I've spoken with some peers and they felt the same.
I think it's one of those things where it's kind of like always in the back of your mind. Like every time we get an alert Carolina, even if it's like a weather notification, it's going to be like, is this, something else that's happening? You know what I mean?
The university is offering resources to help students further recover, including free counseling.
The U.S. Surgeon General is sounding the alarm about what he calls a crisis in youth mental health. The National Alliance on Mental Illness finds 50% of all mental health conditions appear by age 14, and schools play a vital role in providing or connecting children and families to services. The 2019 School Counselors of the Year spoke about mental health as kids transition into the academic year.
I think some big things to look out for. One, is your child sleeping a whole lot more than they generally do, or a whole lot less, eating a whole lot more, eating a whole lot less? If they're not showing up in a way that you can recognize them, that's going to be an issue. Those are red flags.
Experts also suggest parents ask their kids to rate their school day on a scale of 1 to 10 to get a better sense of how their child is doing and normalize relationships with school counselors and staff. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. New security upgrades at PTI Airport. TSA is now using computed tomography screening at their checkpoints. The new technology is used to screen travelers' carry-on luggage in the security checkpoint. These CT scans can generate a 3D image of the bag's contents. The system allows people to leave everything in their carry-on bags, including electronics larger than a cell phone.
The saga over a seat on the Guilford County School Board has hit a peculiar new development. The county's Republican Party has once again nominated Michael Logan to fill the District 3 seat after state lawmakers targeted the dispute with a new state law. Now here's where it gets strange. The Republican Party says the board must seat him at its next meeting, but the man who currently fills the seat, Bill Goebel, says the new law doesn't actually remove him from the board and he is suing to keep it. At this point, it's not clear what happens next.
Time is running out to get a rebate on your property taxes if you live in Guilford County. Residents who pay their taxes before tomorrow can get a 1% discount. The rate will apply to county property and fire district taxes. You can find more information on our website.
Cleaning crews have been out at East Lawn Elementary in Burlington today, getting rid of mold and making sure the school is ready for the first day next week. The students are scheduled to go back on Tuesday, even as several schools are dealing with that mold. District leaders are surveying 9 other schools today. They've confirmed at least 17 schools total have been impacted by mold and say the price tag to clean it all up, about $20 million. The school board will meet again tomorrow to figure out what comes next. We'll be right back.
A live look at a legacy Federal Credit Union Stadium in Winston-Salem. Wake Forest University is preparing to kick off the season against Elon University. It's the first game in the newly named stadium. The Demon Deacons are currently not ranked in the top 25 of football teams, but they have the season to get there. Kickoff 7 p.m.
If you've been school shopping over the past couple of months, you have seen the increasing cost at the register. Well, here's one mom's experience and advice on how to save the next time around.
Guys, are you ready? Yeah. Okay. It's an outing that can fill a parent with dread. Back to school shopping.
You want to make sure you have your list?
Nasheen Asif is taking daughters Miriam and Misha for their supplies.
All right, girls, we're going to knock this out.
And working on a list of her own.
I try my best to do it during tax-free weekend.
The Texas mom is a teacher.
Wide ruled or college ruled. So how much is that one?
And pays for some classroom items herself.
Do you have to factor supplies for your classroom into your family budget?
I do.
The price of school supplies has risen almost 24% over the last 2 years.
Did you spend more for school supplies this year than you did last?
I did for them. It's not just the school supplies itself individually. Everything has gone up.
How to save? Experts say it's not necessary to buy everything right now. Winter clothes are discounted in the fall. Also, consider sites like Facebook Marketplace and resale stores for gently used clothing. For big-ticket electronics like a laptop, shop Labor Day sales.
Another helpful tool, especially if you're shopping for apparel or supplies like notebooks, is to go to Google Shopping, and they'll give you all the different options so you can really make the smart choices.
Even with a teacher discount, Asif spent almost $1,000. The anticipation of back to school.
Misha, here's yours.
This year, with a higher than ever price tag.
Boy, I'm glad I don't have to be out there doing that. I can't imagine for what it's like for you.
So, you know, it's funny with the twins, they're in college, you'd think it would be more expensive, but they're doing a lot of their curriculum and their books and stuff are online this year.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
that's helpful.
so it's included with
That's
tuition
great.
in some cases. But for my two little ones, 5th grade, 7th grade, make sure I get it right, we spent about $250 total for school supplies.
Yeah, when
For 5th grade.
Right.
back when I was in school, I know my mom always tried to, make sure like my sister, my brother, and I, we would reuse some school supplies
Yes.
that we had in like previous years. Obviously, the ones we didn't touch, or maybe they were still in good condition, and that helped a lot with price as well too. Prices.
But, so, you know, we were looking, we did the normal Walmart, Target trips, but they were stripped. And then I thought, I was driving by and I went, surely a CVS or a Walgreens has some of that. I went in there and they had everything. I paid a little more than I would have at like
Sure.
a Walmart, but it was worth it not to have to worry about not getting the stuff.
It's incredible to me, the school supply section at Dollar Tree. I don't know if you've
didn't
ever
think about that.
shopped there
yes,
for
I've
school
seen that.
supplies.
Yes.
I mean, you could get everything
You
there.
can.
I should have done that.
And it's all $1.25.
Decked out.
So do the young ones, do they like school shopping?
Love it. Drew especially, really, my
Yeah.
little girl, she's 10, she still loves it. Yeah.
I didn't. I did not have any patience going
I
through
loved
the-
it
When I heard her
loved it
say we're
too.
gonna knock this out, that reminded me how my mom would be. Okay, we're gonna try to go in and out, and I I was like, oh.
I was like, Mom, I want this shirt and I want this shirt and
Yes.
these pants and
Like,
this
get it
shirt
over
and these
with.
pants. She's
And
like,
in elementary
okay, chill
school,
out.
the lunchbox. Lunchbox was my thing in elementary school. I loved it.
Well, you can help teachers and students with school supply donations. Our Tools for School drive continues through September 11th. You can donate at your local Walmart by dropping supplies in our collection boxes. Check our website for a list of locations and needed supplies. We'll be right back.
You know, it's so nice after you have a tropical system move through the area, even if it's the eastern parts of our state, not so much here, to just say it's gone, and now we have some of the best weather that we're going to see for a while. I mean, these temperatures are really comfortable. Upper 70s, low 80s across the region now, except for Troy, they're up to 85, but Burlington, 81. You see Asheboro and Lexington at 80, it's 81 in High Point and 79 Winston-Salem and Greensboro, 80 in Mount Airy and 79 in Reedsville. Very comfortable. Hour by hour tonight, we're going to cool down pretty quickly. In fact, now this particular graphic only goes to 2 a.m., but we think by the time we get to around 6 a.m., we'll be in the upper 50s for overnight lows. And notice the sky symbols clear all the way across the board. In fact, it's the entire 7-day. Doesn't show much in the way of rain. We're going to see an extended dry period. Clear out there right now. There you go with the remnants of Idalia moving off the coast, and we see that gradual clearing. It looks very comfortable. Overall, we'll see that cool, crisp, almost fall-like air tomorrow morning, courtesy of the high pressure. As that pushes down the eastern seaboard, we have a great couple of days. Now, it does change a little bit as we go into the long range, probably the last 3 days of our 7-day. We could see another 90 again with some heat building on the backside of that high pressure, and that will move in on the end of the 7-day. Here's what it looks like. Let's show you everything here. 78, all sunshine for Friday, sunny through your weekend, 80 and 84 Saturday, Sunday. To round out the Labor Day weekend, you've got that 87 on Monday. That's comfortable, a little above normal, but we'll take it. 88 to 90 for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Notice every day, mostly sunny.
Welcome back. A California scuba diver has gained a reputation for finding valuable items. So basically, he helps people retrieve things they've lost while boating, swimming, and engaging in other water sports. His name is Merman Mike, and he's digging up more than treasure.
Welcome to the treasure room.
If one man's trash is considered another man's treasure,
So this is basically where I bring anything and everything I don't deem as trash.
then Michael Pelly is a rich man.
I tell people that I'm a diver first and a treasure hunter.
The diver explores the bottoms of rivers and lakes.
Found a little thing of Crown Royal.
Sifting through trash to find valuables people left behind.
It started out with me just going out there and looking for anything and everything.
A fascination that has turned into purpose.
I also wanted to be able to return something if I did find it and I could return it.
That's her. Thank you.
And so I realized, one, I was going to have some way to get my name out there.
He decided on the name Merman Mike, and he now takes thousands of social media followers on his dive missions.
Stay tuned.
Recently, he was asked to search for a woman's wedding ring that slipped off her finger while she was at Bass Lake near Yosemite National Park. It was his deepest dive yet.
I found a couple cans, I found bottle tops, I found pull tabs, I found pretty much anything and everything besides the ring.
After nearly 3 hours of digging,
you could see me looking at it for a second before I realized what it was. And then I just absolutely blew up with excitement. It's always the moment I'm looking for the most, especially if there's doubts.
Merman Mike says he doesn't charge to find items.
I tell everybody that I'm just happy to help. Anytime my head goes underwater, I'm a happy camper.
And for him, moments like these are priceless.
Thank you.
She said, hand it over.
I know. I also want to mention that Merman Mike also helps to clean the lakes and rivers that he searches. So he says you can't just go for the treasure. You also have to pick up the trash.
I noticed he had what looked like mesh gloves on at one point, like the metal mesh. And I'm thinking that's because there's hooks and bait and all that stuff down there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Random nails and
She was like, give me that ring.
I can't believe that he found that ring, though.
I can, that's a miracle.
And I mean,
You heard
what
him screaming and
a
down there.
market for that, though. I mean, think about the things that people have lost in the ocean, in a lake.
That Apple Watch, you saw the camera. I mean, there's so many different things. He could make a museum or something out of it.
My mom used to have the metal detector. She would literally go on the beach like, with that thing trying to find stuff.
Did she ever find anything good?
She did find a watch once, but that's about it. The rest of it was cans and stuff.
See, do you think that there would be, in lakes or oceans, do you think there'll be more sunglasses down there or cell phones?
Both. Gotta be
I
both.
would think both. I would think both as well, too.
A lot of my sunglasses.
I would hope not cell phones, though.
Well, you don't hope it, but you know,
It
they're
happens.
there.
We'll be back.
know.
The anticipation was
I
killing
know. I was
me.
at the edge of my seat.
Our orchestra needed some extra time, so now they're doing great.
Look at the beach.
I know. That's Ocean Isle, by the way, if you're wondering what that is.
And it's hard to look at this shot because the sky and the conditions are so beautiful, but you can see that they've got a little bit of, I don't know if you call it storm damage, but standing water places.
Yeah, some overwash, it looks like, where the sand got back up on the road. And that's one of our south-facing beaches, too, Ocean Isle, Holden, that area. So usually if a storm, now this one came from southwest, right, not up the coast, but still they got a lot of damage from the overwash more than anything else.
I still see people up in that corner outside taking advantage of the now nicer weather. So
surfers will be out there too.
Yeah, maybe points south of here, there is a lot of cleanup ahead following yesterday's severe weather along the coast. Idalia left a path of destruction across multiple states.
Right now, many of the areas along the coast are experiencing flooding, but Florida may have the most damage. Idalia initially made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane, wreaking havoc along the Gulf Coast before weakening once it traveled over land.
And over in North Myrtle Beach, the storm caused a possible tornado, not confirmed yet, but that tore the roofs off some homes there. It did some flooding as well. WFMY News 2's Christian Morgan has been surveying that aftermath all day.
We're in North Myrtle Beach this morning, really up the road in the Cherry Grove community, where last night a likely tornado rolled through this area from Idalia around 10:30, and it blew the roof entirely off of this beach house on 56th Avenue. Now, the other thing you'll notice is all the debris is now in the backyard, and even out into the canal behind the house. That's where the roof actually blew off into. And it's kind of hard to see, but across the canal, there's actually insulation that's been blown all the way out of this house, all the way across the canal into the other house as well. Now, the damage is not as widespread as you would think. These are only a couple little isolated incidents, and this really is the worst of the damage that we have seen. The storm is gone now, the wind's relaxing, the sun coming out as we go into our Thursday evening, and it really is returning to business as normal for most folks. Now, we did speak to this homeowner here. He is okay, just said it's going to be a long process of cleaning up and repairing.
Christian, thank you. The town of Perry in Florida was hit hard by the storm, maybe the hardest. There's all sorts of damage and debris there. It's still not clear the extent of the damage, but people have already started cleaning up.
This tangled mess of trees and electrical lines, what many of the streets here in Perry looked like Wednesday morning as people began to emerge from their homes or return to the area. On this particular street, we're told there was one neighbor who stayed to ride out the storm inside their home, and this is what it looked like. The roof there you can see damaged by a downed tree. There's another huge tree in the back that is still leaning on top of the roof. Another tree looks like it was just a twig snapped in half. We met many neighbors today who were out cleaning up. They talked about how grateful they were for the help of their neighbors coming together in a time of need.
I was really sad, you know, I mean, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but you know, this is a beautiful town. The people are wonderful, and I hate seeing my people go through something like this. It was tough.
Florida Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Petronis also accompanying the governor to Perry today. He became emotional when talking about the effects of the storm here.
Every car that drives by, everybody's looking up because they're looking at somebody coming to help. Somebody coming, you know, and everybody's looking. And you know what? Everybody appreciates a little bit of a smile. It's a nonverbal embrace, and people appreciate knowing they haven't been forgotten about.
And clearly, with all the damage, the cleanup is going to take weeks and months, but you can be sure that the people here in Perry are resilient and they are up to the challenge.
It sure does take a team. It takes a village, and I love how she said it's a tight-knit community. She's sad to see her own community like this, but it's devastating when you look at the aftermath, even from all the way here over in North Carolina. It just breaks your heart.
I've been through 3 major hurricanes at the coast, covering them in my career, and you never get, I mean, it's shocking no matter how many times you've seen it. When you see it in person and you look around, people say it looks like a bomb went off. That's exactly what it looks like. Houses. And it's crazy how 2 houses are totally destroyed and one's not touched.
Right, and it really is a good perspective for us who live here, where we didn't see any damage up here in the Triad, and the damage is minimal, I think, at least what we've seen at the North Carolina coast. So it's hard to complain about some of our minor things when you see what people are dealing with in those areas of Florida.
That's very true.
Prayers out to those communities.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about our forecast, because all this, even for our coastal sections and for Florida, it's all headed away, right? So we're in good shape with really some of the best weather that we're going to see for a while over the next 2 or 3 days. And that's actually really good news for any crews or residents that have to get out there and help with that cleanup and get things back to normal. They'll have some decent weather to deal with that. All right, this is sky conditions and temperatures regionally. So look at all the sunny to partly cloudy. Really, you have to go down to northern Alabama, Birmingham, with a few clouds. They're mostly cloudy there. Wilmington, variably cloudy still at this point. So is Richmond. But anything off the coast back all the way over to Atlanta is mostly sunny. We are clear, and temperatures right now in the upper 70s. We will drop down to 57 tonight. That'll be your low. So that means tomorrow morning, that's what you'll get. Crisp, cool air. Very fall-like. I mean, think about this, 50s and 70s, that sounds like September, doesn't it? And that's exactly right. Usually toward mid to the end of September, we are in those upper 70s for highs. Very comfortable. Satellite and radar all clear. We go out to the wide shot. A few showers still, that is associated with Idalia, but that is moving off the coast, and we will say good riddance to that as it pushes away, courtesy of the high pressure that we see to our north, which ushers in some really nice air. The heat will return, but that'll happen toward the end of our 7 days. So until then, here's what it looks like. 79 tomorrow. We are all sunshine through your holiday weekend. 82 Saturday, 86 Sunday, 88 on Monday. Then we're back to the low 90s for Tuesday and Wednesday. Finally, a little bit of a shower chance slips in for Wednesday, Thursday, but even that is a measly 20%.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, there are new developments in the aftermath of the catastrophic fires in Maui. President Biden has pledged $95 million to help strengthen Hawaii's electrical grid. The aid comes as island leaders face growing calls for accountability, including the mayor. He admitted the other day he did not place a single call in the hours during or after the fires.
Flight attendants at American Airlines walked the picket lines yesterday after voting overwhelmingly to authorize union leaders to call for a labor strike. About 28,000 flight attendants at American are fighting for their first raise since 2019. The airline says it's making progress in talks with the union. Federal law makes it very difficult for airline unions to carry out legal strikes.
The Department of Health and Human Services is asking the DEA to consider making marijuana a Schedule III drug. Right now, it's a Schedule I substance, same as heroin and LSD. Now, the change would ease restrictions for cannabis researchers, even businesses. The DEA has the authority to make the change through a process that includes public input. 23 states already legally allow pot for recreational use. As you know, North Carolina is not one of them. Happening right now, there's a contest underway looking for the coolest thing made in North Carolina. The Chamber wants your input. There are countless options, from bourbon to no blister socks. You can vote as many times as you'd like, but only once per day. The first round of voting closes tomorrow night at 8.
All right, so I posted this link on my Facebook page, and I asked you what your thoughts were on the coolest thing made in North Carolina. Deanna says the coolest is actually the hottest, Texas Pete. Made in Winston-Salem, yes. Elizabeth Piccolo says, I used to think it was cool that we had those flyback yo-yo paddle toys, but now they're gone. I didn't even know those were made in North Carolina. Teresa said Vicks Vapor Rub, Texas Pete, and Cheerwine, talking about Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and Salisbury. And then Judy said Mount Olive Pickles. I would agree with you. That's one of my top ones. Valerie Van Etten says my grandchildren were made in North Carolina, Bobby, Benny, and Emmy.
That's right.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I mean, everybody does the normal. Well, you were about to say probably the number one answer.
Well, Krispy Kreme.
Yep.
Darn
Out
it.
of Winston-Salem.
Darn it. I was gonna say that too.
Love some good Krispy Kreme.
Is Cookout from North Carolina?
Yes, and don't ask me where. I want to say it's
Isn't
south
the first one in Greensboro?
No, it was south, because I remember calling. Well, I say that. I know I called their headquarters once because I had an idea of where they should put one, and it was somewhere like south of us, like Rowan County. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it is in North Carolina.
I might say Cookout then.
I love Cookout. I just had a milkshake today.
You're just talking about
What
it.
flavor?
Good milkshake.
What flavor?
Nobody likes the one I like. I like pineapple milkshakes. So it's pineapple with vanilla ice cream, and I love it.
I like Krispy Kreme so much that the hot and ready sign doesn't have to be on for me to eat it.
Now, would you eat a Krispy Kreme cookout milkshake?
Ooh, yes.
Krispy Kreme, what?
Cookout milkshake, like a Krispy Kreme,
Break
like a
the dough.
donut milkshake.
Flavored type thing? I don't know. I don't know, it might be too much.
And
But
they
I
don't
try
just do
it.
the flavor, because I think they use vanilla for most of the bases.
Yeah, and they just mix it
so
in.
So they would be putting Krispy Kreme donut chunks in the ice cream.
Gosh,
Would
you're
you do
onto
it?
something.
I would
yes.
try it.
I would try that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, some might say the coolest thing we have here, all our sports teams. A couple of them will be on display tonight. Check out this live picture at a Legacy Federal Credit Union Stadium at Wake Forest University. The Demon Deacons are hosting Elon tonight at 7 for the first game of the season. We'll have highlights at 11. We'll break.
Hello, friends. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together like a classic combination. Last-minute Labor Day weekend deals. A lot of people are going to be Googling that now that we're looking at a good weekend.
Google doesn't take them always to the right place, and it's not only Google, it's on ads that you see on social media.
Maybe you've seen it on Instagram or Facebook, some kind of ad that says they've got rooms for half off or flights for cheap.
You might be directed to a bogus site where scammers are trying to phish you, to take your credentials, and they're not really selling you any real vacations.
All right, so wouldn't it be awful if you thought you were getting a travel deal for Labor Day or any other weekend, and then you didn't? You got nothing. Like you had nothing.
It almost makes me nervous if you just Google something and there are 10 sites that you've never heard of before that are offering all these deals.
And don't click the top one because they're sponsored usually. You know, so many people do that.
Right, or you get the ads that are on Facebook or on Instagram like, hey, we're running a deal or whatever, here's your weekend getaway. You never ever want to click on that link. If there is a deal that, like, let's say it says we've got deals on Delta flights to wherever this weekend or something like that, you actually go to Delta.
Right.
Right. You don't ever click on that deal.
I always have a red flag up for some of the even the more popular travel sites like the Orbitz, Expedia of the world, because I don't really know what I'm going to get.
You just never know. You just never know.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you know, we do this a lot. We Google, right? We Google Delta, we Google USA, or we US, whatever, and all the things come up, right? Unfortunately, the scammers have it's like Delta.com is the real site, but then the scammers will have like Delta with an extra A at the end that you don't actually catch, but you just click it because you're like, oh, someone's like, where do you want to go? And you're like, I'm just doing this and whatever, and you're not thinking about it. And their website will look like a Delta website.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. So scammers also are going to send you messages saying that you won or you qualified for a deal. That's not how we do business, folks, is it?
No.
Okay.
No. No, class, no.
All right, now here's what I will say. Anytime you want to buy something online, I want you to use your credit card, not your debit card. Please, someone at this table, tell me why you use your credit card, not your debit card. Hands up, look at that. I like it.
Let's do this together. Why should you use your debit card?
Why
Or
should
not use your debit.
With a credit card, you're covered in case something is wrong.
Yes.
If you use a debit card, that's real money coming out of your bank account, and it's either hard to get that reimbursed if you lose it, or impossible.
Ding, ding, ding. Look at all of this. You guys are fantastic. Yes, and please don't wire money. Don't use your Venmo, your PayPal, your Cash App. We all like to use it to one another, right? You buy me lunch, I'm going to give you some little money right back. But you don't do that ever when it's some kind of website, because you cannot get your money back. Period. All right, so coming up at 6, we're going to take a look at how you can spot those website fakes. So don't get faked out, not this weekend. All right, we'll be back.
As we quickly approach Labor Day weekend, millions of Americans will be leaving town for one last summer trip. Travel is expected to be busier than last year, and most vacationers will be driving as gas prices creep upward.
Gas prices saw a small drop last week, but they're creeping up again in some places, with the national average about 8 cents a gallon more than a month ago, according to AAA. For many, that's too much.
It is really expensive. So it kind of sucks.
Despite the pain some are feeling at the pump, prices are practically a repeat from 2022.
Labor Day this year is likely to be virtually identical to what motors were paying last year.
Fuel analyst Patrick DeHaan says with summer coming to a close, prices should start dropping after Labor Day, barring any surprises.
I do think that the trend will remain downward for the potential of the next few weeks, especially as we get into mid and late September. That's when a combination of the transition back to cheaper winter gasoline and falling gasoline demand should pave the way for lower prices. And if things go well, if there are no surprises or curveballs, the national average could fall 35 to 50 cents a gallon by the end of the year.
That's good news for drivers struggling with the current cost of a fill-up.
It's expensive, but we can't really do much about it.
Experts say one thing you can do is shop around. Costco, Sam's Club, and other wholesale stores offer discounted gas, and apps like Gas Buddy, AAA, and Google Maps list prices at stations in your area. That can help you get to your holiday destination with a few more bucks in your pocket.
If you're looking for cheaper gas, listen up. Sheetz is helping out drivers hitting the road. The gas station says unleaded 88 gas will cost $2.99 through Labor Day weekend. Sheetz is also lowering its diesel fuel prices by 35 cents at its stores to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Truck Driver Appreciation Week. The diesel discount runs from Labor Day to September 16th.
All right, looking at some of the readings across the region right now, and boy, are we comfortable. Nobody's arguing with this. 79 degrees in the Triad. Even at Wilmington, it's 76. 83 in Asheville. Kind of unusual, right? It's backwards. Usually we'd see Asheville the coolest, Wilmington the warmest. Not the case today, as the remnants of Idalia work their way off the coast. And we say goodbye and good riddance. We are left with a beautiful forecast. 57, that's the low tonight, which means that's what you'll experience tomorrow morning as you make your way out. High temperatures at 79 tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Boy, it just doesn't get much better than that. In fact, we go out to the wider shot, except for our coastal plain, just the remnants, a little bit of rain that's pulling away. The state is completely clear with lots of sun. That crisp fall-like air comes in tomorrow morning. But then we change things a bit as that high continues to move off the coast, and it opens the door for some warmer weather. The second half of our 7-day, we get a little back above normal for a change. So 79, 82, and 86. That's your Friday, Saturday, Sunday numbers. All sunshine there, even through Labor Day with a high of 88. Back to some low 90s possible for Tuesday. Wednesday, rain chances slip back in. Late day pop-up shower variety, but it's very slim. Only a 20% chance for Wednesday, Thursday, and we're down to 89 by Thursday.
All right, you've got to see this historic moment in sports. 92,000 fans is now the world record for attendance at a women's sporting event. It happened last night during the University of Nebraska's volleyball match against the University of Omaha. They played inside Memorial Stadium, which is typically used by the football team. The match broke the previous record from 1999 when 90,185 people attended the Women's World Cup final between Team USA and China.
My jaw is to the floor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, if you're surprised by this, think about this. Nebraska does not have a professional sports team, leaving sports fans to support the University of Nebraska. The state's population around 2 million, but I can guarantee you at least 75%, maybe even 95% support the Cornhuskers.
Wow.
I've lived there. I drank the
You
Kool-Aid.
did, that's right.
And it is no surprise to me that they basically sold out a football stadium for a volleyball game.
I mean, just even seeing the volleyball court down there where yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just a different look. my jaw is to the floor.
So I didn't think about that, but that makes sense because that's it. That's the only
That's all they
sports
have.
game in the state. So
Yep.
everybody goes to that.
Football
right?
is number one, obviously, but
Yep.
volleyball is number two.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, they have a basketball team. They're kind of mediocre every year, but volleyball excels every year. They've won a ton of national championships, And so the whole state has like circled themselves
Look
around
at the
volleyball.
fireworks.
Volleyball is a fun game to watch.
That's
And
crazy.
so they had a post-concert. Scotty McCreery performed after the volleyball match.
Are you serious?
This is a volleyball match.
That's phenomenal. I love that.
And they had perfect weather for it, not humid, no rain. Love that for the people of Nebraska.
All right, now you know. We'll be right back.
Blood worked for Guilford County Schools as a bus driver for nearly 20
Mic check, 1 2 3 3 2 1
years.
1 2 3 3 2 1. Mic check, mic check. Emotions were high inside and then also outside.
Today we learned Gwendolyn
Happy
Floods worked for
birthday.
Guilford County Schools for nearly 20 years, and she retired in 2018.
Yep.
Microphone check. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
Here we are. We're doing a little mic check. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska.
10-9-876-54321, 10-9-876.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination?
It's commonly known that the traditional retirement age is 65, maybe 67, depending on who you ask. If you're already retired, you probably remember the date it happened. If you're like me with decades to go, you might not have thought much about that date. Well, that was my case until this week, and it was not intentional. I was on our company's website and found myself in an HR section that has all sorts of my personal information. I was simply skimming the information when I came across this. My retirement date. It shows both the date I could retire early and the date of my regular retirement. The day before my 67th birthday in the year 2050. It kind of caught me off guard. I've never considered the year I'd be able to retire because it's always been so far away. To see it listed on a website was surprising to me. For the first time, it had me thinking about the year 2050, and honestly, my first thought was mild panic. Would I have enough money saved by then to live comfortably in retirement? What would my life be like in the year 2050? My mind started racing. That only lasted for a minute before I realized it's still more than 20 years away, no need to panic. But I can guarantee the year 2050 will never look the same for me. I've got lots of time to figure it out, or at least I hope so. That's just my 2 cents. And your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now. A local family understandably devastated by the sudden death of a matriarch.
Guilford County Sheriff's Office says 28-year-old Malik Marshall Hardy murdered Gwendolyn Flood after he broke into her home. It happened last week in the Adams Farm community.